And Canada called me a couple of weeks ago. They want to be part of it. To which I said, well, why don't you just join our country? You become 51, become the 51st state, and you get it for free.
So President Trump did a massive announcement and speech in front of all the top brass in the American military just moments ago, and it's confirmed. Looks like we are about to head into a war. There was some pot shots that were taken towards Russia in terms of submarines that have been deployed to the Russian coast. There's, get ready for war literally coming out of President Trump's mouth. There's also more 51st state comments that Trump makes about Canada. I absolutely love that. Canada could have had a free Golden Dome if they just became the 51st state. It's not too late. I love that. Absolutely love that. And then he also makes fun of all the fat generals and all the wokeness and political correctness and how that's just got to stop because the military doesn't and should not respect that. So there's a lot to take a look at in this video, and I do hope you stick around for the full thing. And all I ask is for you guys to hit the like button and subscribe. We're almost at 500,000 subscribers, which is absolutely mind-blowing. It'd be pretty sweet if we got there sooner than later. And I do want to acknowledge that I did see a lot of the comments yesterday talking about the Huggies diapers that are right behind me. I don't know what to say, man. As a dad with a couple of kids, couple of rugrats, you just gotta put the diapers where they are. I'll have my wife move the box next time I film. Without further ado, let's get right into this video. Starting off with, well, the fact that President Trump is given a raise, right? Trump to implement a 3.8% military pay raise, which is pretty freaking awesome. So everyone who's in the military and ready for deployment ready, or actually on deployment is going to be getting a nice little pay raise. Now let's get into the actual announcements.
I don't want my son serving alongside troops who are out of shape, or in combat unit with females who can't meet the same combat arms physical standards as men, or troops who are not fully proficient on their assigned weapons, platform, or task, or under a leader who was the first but not the best. Standards must be uniform, gender neutral, and high. If not, they're not standards. They're just suggestions. Suggestions that get our sons and daughters killed. When it comes to combat arms units, and there are many different stripes across our joint force, the era of politically correct, overly sensitive, don't hurt anyone's feelings leadership ends right now. At every level, either you can meet the standard, either you can do the job, either you are disciplined, fit, and trained, or you are out. And that's why today, at my direction, and this is the first of 10 Department of War directives that are arriving at your commands as we speak and in your inbox. Today, at my direction, each service will ensure that every requirement for every combat MOS, for every designated combat arms position, returns to the highest male standard only.
There you go. Nice.
Because this job is life or death. Standards must be met. And not just met, at every level we should seek to exceed the standard, to push the envelope, to compete. It's common sense and core to who we are and what we do. It should be in our DNA. Today, at my direction, we are also adding a combat field test for combat arms units that must be executable in any environment at any time and with combat equipment. These tests, they'll look familiar. They'll resemble the Army Expert Physical Fitness Assessment or the Marine Corps Combat Fitness Test. I'm also directing that warfighters in combat jobs execute their service fitness test at a gender-neutral, age-normed male standard scored above 70%. It all starts with physical fitness and appearance. If the Secretary of War can do regular, hard PT, so can every member of our joint force.
Yeah, that's right.
Frankly,
lead by example.
It's tiring to look out at combat formations, or really any formation, and see fat troops. Likewise, it's completely unacceptable to see fat generals and admirals in the halls of the Pentagon and leading commands around the country and the world. It's a bad look. It is bad, and it's not who we are. So whether you're an airborne ranger or a chairborne ranger, a brand new private or a 4-star general, you need to meet the height and weight standards and pass your PT test. And as the chairman said, yes, there is no PT test. But today, at my direction, every member of the Joint Force at every rank is required to take a PT test twice a year, as well as meet height and weight requirements twice a year, every year of service. Also today, at my direction, every warrior across our Joint Force is required to do PT every duty day. Should be common sense. I mean, most units do that already, but we're codifying it. And we're not talking like hot yoga and stretching. Real hard PT, either as a unit or as an individual. At every level, from the Joint Chiefs to everyone in this room to the youngest private, leaders set the standard. And so many of you do this already. Active, Guard, and Reserve.
This is what America is known for. The military in America is the most badass military around the world. I used to work with the American military when I was in the Canadian military, and there's just so much respect for how hard and how badass the men and women are in that military, and that has to come back. Take it from Canada's military that has just deteriorated. I mean, you have purple-haired, obese, weirdo Karens, radical lefts that are literally in charge of the Canadian military. Don't let that happen to the American military. Come on. It's like the most badass and well-respected military in the entire world. Like, something has to happen. And it's happening right now. Then we're going to take a look at what President Trump said, because he's not messing around, man. Russia has been encroaching on NATO, and they've been dropping the N-word, and President Trump is not happy with it. So here's what he's done.
But I announced that, based on his mention of nuclear, and it was really a stupid person that works for him mentioned the word nuclear, I moved a submarine or two, I won't say about the two, over to the coast of Russia, just to be careful, because we can't let people throw around that word. I call it the N-word. There are two N-words, and you can't use either of them. You can't use either of them. And frankly, if it does get to use, we have more than anybody else. We have better, we have newer, but it's something we don't ever want to even have to think about. But when somebody mentions it, that submarine started immediately thereafter. And it's just lurking, but I'm sure we're not going to have to use it. But it's an amazing, it's undetectable, totally. Ours is, theirs isn't. Theirs are totally detectable. We can detect them easily. We go right to the spot. But we have genius apparatus that doesn't allow detection. It doesn't allow detection at all by anybody above water or below water. It's incredible. We're way ahead of everybody in that and other things. As a result of the exciting renewal of the spirit of our armed forces, and that's what it is. It's really reaching that spirit, unprecedented heights over the past.
And that's not all President Trump said about war. He also said this about Canada, the Golden Dome, and the future 51st state.
Investing tens of billions of dollars in modernizing our nuclear deterrence capabilities like never before. And we've begun construction on what we call the Golden Dome missile defense shield. It'll be the most sophisticated in the world. You watched it do well until they had some problems at the end with a little bit of a lack of ammunition, defensive ammunition, but they've got that taken care of. But I tell you, it's what we're doing is so.
For what he's referring to there, he just told the Pentagon and all of the missile defense manufacturers in America to ramp up production of ballistic missiles and warheads and things like that. So they're just kind of anticipating some sort of conflict where either America's going to have to flex how many missiles that they really have, or they're going to have to use them for something at some point, right? Because that's kind of what war is.
Good, and we deserve it. We help other countries with it. We don't have it ourselves. And Canada called me a couple of weeks ago. They want to be part of it. To which I said, well, why don't you just join our country? You become 51, become the 51st state, and you get it for free. So I don't know if that made a big impact, but it does make a lot of sense. It actually makes, because they're having a hard time up there in Canada now, because as you know, with tariffs, everyone's coming into our country. We have more investment than we've ever had before, $17 trillion coming in. As an example, in 4 years, Biden didn't have $1 trillion. We have 17 trillion more than that in 8 months coming in. And they're coming in from Canada, Mexico, from Europe, from all over. AI, auto plants. Everybody's coming back to the United States.
Can confirm everybody that all the businesses that are in Canada are leaving Canada and they're going to America. This is 100% confirmed. So it's just so funny to see how far gone Canada has truly become and how great America is truly becoming yet again. It's just phenomenal to see. But that's not the only thing Trump said. He also said this.
A great job you're doing, too. Fantastic job. I've never walked into a room so silent before. This is very... Don't laugh. Don't laugh. You're not allowed to do that. You know what? Just have a good time. And if you want to applaud, you applaud. And if you want to do anything you want, you can do anything you want. And if you don't like what I'm saying, you can leave the room. Of course, there goes your rank. There goes your future. But you just feel nice and loose, okay? Because we're all on the same team. And I was told that, sir, you won't hear a murmur in the room. I said, we got to loosen these guys up a little bit. So you just have a good time. But I want to thank Secretary Hegseth and General Kane, General Raising Kane for a reason, they call him that. When I heard his name, I said, you're the guy I'm looking for.
I love how Trump can just make a room full of generals so freaking nervous. Oh my goodness. But now the president talks about what's going on with Portland, Oregon, and these cities that are just absolutely starting to melt, right? Let's have a look.
How about Portland, Oregon, where it looks like a war zone? And I get a call from the liberal governor, sir, please don't come in. We don't need you. I said, well, unless they're playing false tapes, this looked like World War II. Your place is burning down. I mean, you must be kidding. Sir, we have it under control. I said, you don't have it under control, Governor, but I'll check it, and I'll call you back. I called her back. I said, this place is a nightmare. It's certainly not the biggest, but it's one of the worst. It's brutal. They go after our ICE people, who are great patriots and tough job too, but they love it. They love it because they're cleaning up our country. How about Portland?
I mean, if you've been, frequently watching this channel, you've seen that one of the last videos I posted was Antifa versus ICE protesters in Portland, Oregon. And I mean, ICE just absolutely messed them up, shot them with paintball guns, made some arrests. It's hilarious what's going on. You've got the worst of the worst Antifa. They're like weirdly disorganized, but somehow kind of organized domestic terrorists that are trying to take on the United States government. It's just not going to work in their favor, and it really isn't. But they keep showing up every night for more brutal beatings, so it's just going to keep happening. It's kind of funny to watch. Most people that are watching are cheering on ICE and, military, cops, border services, just brutally beating up the Antifa protesters. It's just hilarious to watch.
And I told Pete, we should use some of these dangerous cities as training grounds for our military, National Guard, but military, because we're going into Chicago very soon. That's a big city with an incompetent governor, stupid governor, stupid. They threw him out of his family business. He was so stupid. I know the family. He becomes governor. He's got money, not money that he made, but he ran for governor, he won, and now he criticizes us all the time. And last week they had 11 people murdered, 44 people shot. The week before that, they had 5 people murdered, 28 people shot. Every weekend, they lose 5, 6. If they lose 5, they're considering it a great week. They shouldn't lose any. You shouldn't lose any. This is civilization. And he's always up there saying, we're in very good shape. We don't need the military. No, they need the military desperately. How about...
They absolutely do need the military, which is why you're seeing President Trump deploy the military. And he's going to keep doing it because, I mean, these Antifa thugs are literally taking over America, and you can't do that. You absolutely cannot do that.
We are rapidly moving forward with the first ever 6th generation fighter jet. I didn't name it. I did not name it. Boeing came in and they said, sir, this is our submittal. It's the greatest fighting jet ever done. And, you know, they're testing all these planes. All the companies are testing, and this one tested like through the roof. And they said, we'd like to name it the F-47. I said, let me think about it. Then after thinking for about 2 seconds, I said, okay. You know what that means, 47. I'm 47. So I'm 45, 46, and 47, you know, if you think about it. I just don't want the credit for 46. I don't want to have their open borders and people coming in from all over the world, including jails and mental institutes. I don't want that on my record, but I like having it.
Absolutely is savage speech by President Trump, making generals nervous, making them crack up, having some fun, and then also talking about the seriousness of what's about to happen with the world. It looks like conflict is on the horizon, and military morale, American patriotism is going back to all-time highs, and this is phenomenal. So whoever is out there trying to basically destabilize America, either if it's domestically Antifa, whether it's Russia or China, you guys better watch out, because America and President Trump are not fucking around. Thanks for watching. Hit the like button, subscribe for more content like this, and I'll see you all in another video. Bye for now.